Hello, everybody. This is Amanda Cooper, and in the studio with me today, I have Jonathan Stambolitis. He is the Director of Development for Purty Property Co. Did I say that properly?
That's perfect. It's Purty.
Well, we're so happy that you're here today because you are part of a development that's transforming the Lexington community. Before we begin, could you tell us a little bit about who you are, where you're from, which I think is very nice because you are local, and why you chose Lexington?
Sure, Amanda. Thanks for having me today. So my name's Jonathan. I am the Director of Development at Purty Property, and I hail from Lexington. And growing up in the town, I always saw an opportunity to, build something that somebody hadn't done before. And I felt like as the years went by, that opportunity continued to linger. So we had the property, we purchased it back in 2008, I believe, right during the great financial crisis. And at that time, everything was put on hold. I was in college here at USC, and go Cox. And so we decided to put a hold on the project, and fortunately that worked out for us, so we can kind of take a stab at a new type of development that I'd always kind of wanted to try in the town of Lexington.
Well, I think it's interesting. It seems like you've been doing this real estate development thing for a while in order to purchase property that early. When we hear about different development that comes to different places and areas across the Midlands, a lot of people just think they popped up, and all of a sudden you decided to build. Yeah. But that wasn't the case here. You have been holding on to this piece for the perfect time for quite some time.
Right.
And if I'm not mistaken, back in 2021, it was approved by the Planning Commission.
Correct. Yes, ma'am.
So when we talk about from then to there, walk us through downtown Lexington, because when we posted the article about a week ago, we got a lot of mixed reviews from people emailing me as well as sharing their comments about it, and I'm sure you've heard a lot of feedback as well.
Yeah.
One of the main concerns that a lot of the Lexington residents and people in the area have was traffic. They feel like some feel like they're losing a sense of community, and some are just really terrified of having this type of energy in their traditional town, especially downtown. Could you talk more about those concerns, because you're from Lexington, and I'm sure people have expressed that to you as well?
Yeah, it was good to hear the feedback. It's constructive. And as we were going through the design and development process, traffic and sense of community were top of mind. And that is why we really established Purty Property Company. We want to revitalize underutilized properties, but minimize the impact to the community and the infrastructure that it places. Lexington's been they had to put a moratorium because we've seen so much large tract development, which is really spreading the community out, and that causes actually more traffic than you think. It may be further out and out of mind. So when we're designing Sandpiper Square, our architects, Synchronicity, based out of Charleston, focus on infill projects like this. And the impact that they have on the community and the environment was much less so than one of these large tract, 250 home, 300 acre developments. So being a younger generation of developer, I wanted to take this opportunity to develop something that is close to my heart for Lexington, build something that they will see as really a cornerstone development, and really turning the corner for large tract developments to kind of go by the wayside and really utilize the property that has already been there and reestablish a sense of community through a more mixed-use development. Now, with the traffic issue, we know that traffic is never going to go away in Lexington. We unfortunately can't build that many more roads with how packed in everything is. So we explored all options onto how to reduce that impact of traffic and creating a vibrant community where you have this livable, walkable kind of established commercial mixed use between residential and commercial is really the reason why we went this route. We want people to kind of stay in the homes, stay in the community, and be able to walk to the downtown area. And all the revitalization that's been going on in downtown Lexington, we feel like this is just the icing on the cake. People will be able to explore and enjoy the beautiful Ice House Amphitheater. They'll be able to walk down Main Street, walk to the shops at Flight Deck, have dinner, and we want to turn the corner for development, for residential development.
When we talk about revitalization and urban spaces, mixed units, is this the first in the town of Lexington? Will this be the first?
I think this concept is new to the town of Lexington, and downtown area does not have anything that's been designed purposefully to be a mixed-use development where we can really cater to the economic vitality and also, the comfort of the community and the residents.
Well, it seems, Jonathan, that the city council and the officials are embracing this. I know during the agenda on, I've pulled up the meetings from September 20th back in 2021, and the town of Lexington Mayor McDougal even stated, he said, people in smaller developments tend to come out of their homes and people in larger developments tend to stay in their homes. He stated, which is something that you just addressed when we talk about the issue of neighborhoods and community. It's like the idea of having a large subdivision. People tend to think that traditionally does foster community, but you're saying that these urban multi-mixed units in downtown, which is where I personally stay, not in Lexington, but in that type of environment, and it does foster a sense of community because you get to know people in local spaces, local shops, local coffee shops. You have a routine, you walk your dog, and that grows and fosters in diversity and inclusion in an area that is trying to be more progressive.
Yeah, so really the way McDougal kind of foresaw this development is exactly the way we want to kind of pivot and pioneer a new way of community developments. I think people staying in their homes is not what we're looking for. I think we're looking for more community engagement, and growing up here in Lexington, I didn't get that. I knew everybody in my neighborhood, and that was really it as a kid. This has an opportunity to expose not just the younger generations, but even the empty nesters, baby boomers, to a new type of living, and urban, convenient kind of living. And your community really is going to become an important factor, and you will almost not be forced, but you will be put out there to be part of the community and engage with your fellow neighbors.
Now, when we talk about the actual project itself, I thought it was kind of cool that you have such a blend. You have townhomes, you have multifamily housing, you have commercial spaces. It's like you just doing it all.
Yeah, so we don't have any multifamily, partly because of the traffic impact that would have. So we do have single family homes. We don't like to say townhomes because everybody thinks we're just trying to pack in as many homes as possible.
Gotcha.
Not to correct you, but they're cottages, single family cottages, all detached.
They're detached.
All detached.
Oh, nice. So you do have like your driveway, a backyard, a small front yard.
Correct.
In that sense.
Every house has its own 2-car parking spot, and it will be off the street because we want to engage people in the streets. It's called a VUNAR system that we took inspiration from. So we're really avoiding the multifamily and townhome nomenclature because this is a single family home where you don't have to hear your kids, your neighbor's kids banging through the walls. You have a little bit of privacy, and we've gone so far as designing every window where they're not placed looking directly into the adjacent home next to you. So yeah, the commercial was something we wanted to mix in, a little coffee shop, maybe a little flex work area for the residents there. It's really to service the area and the area residents, but the green space is really where we want to have community events. We want to host, outdoor movie nights and stuff like that. So that's where I think we'll get the real sense of community, where everybody in the town can enjoy this project.
And this is all on a couple of acres. I believe it says here it's 2.07 acres, which is not very big.
No, it's not. The density is 15.54 units per acre.
Wow.
And that is something that the town has never really seen. And people really aren't accustomed to this kind of dense developments. And the reason why we wanted to do it this way is to, again, try to pioneer a new way of using land. There's only so much of it that was made, and call me a millennial or a hippie, but I don't want to tear down any more large tracts of land in Lexington. I want to try to find underutilized properties, and this was the perfect one.
So when we talk about utilizing that space, it seems like it's going to be tight for the vision that you have. For those who say, I even read a comment, this is not downtown Lexington, but it is. If someone is new to the area and they decide, hey, I want to go check out homes in Lexington, I heard it was a great town and I think I want to move there. You drive down the main strip leading to downtown where all the little shops are at. Where do we find Sandpiper Square?
So we're kind of going to be kind of the bulkhead at the very top of Main Street, kind of on the other side of Columbia Avenue, behind the shops of Flight Deck. So is this on Main Street? Technically, no, but we want this to kind of anchor Main Street and say we got Old Mill all the way down here, and we've got Sandpiper Square, and in between there, I think creating a diverse community of walkable, livable homes is really where the town's vision is, and we feel like we hit it on the head for what the town is looking to kind of instill in its residents downtown.
So, like I know near Ice House, there's another building being constructed, and we were there for the groundbreaking. It was very nice, and I talked to one of the developers and architects, and they were saying how they're using like different types of building materials, more progressive, more futuristic type of floor plans. Is that what we can expect from this project, like solar panels or different things of that nature?
So we are taking every effort to make these homes as green and as efficient as possible. As far as modern looking, you will find a little modern aesthetic appeal in the interior as far as our fit and finish. On the outside, I want you to think of it as the most quaint southern town you've ever seen in Charleston. We've got, the porch life is really great. I lived in downtown Charleston, and I got to experience having neighbors right there on their porch and just enjoying the beautiful weather we have here in South Carolina is what we want to encourage, but also, paying tribute to traditional South Carolina Charleston style homes. I think it's going to be a nice breath of fresh air from those typical, large tract developments we're seeing in Lexington right now.
One of the other concerns, even amongst the council members during this particular meeting, was the roads, supporting the roads. A lot of residents, even in comments that we've shared when we posted the article, are saying that Lexington roads are not as well suited for the growth that is coming. What are your thoughts about that?
I don't disagree. The growth is already here. We have seen these new traffic signal systems. I think they've made an impact. Changing some of the ways the road runs has made an impact. As far as Sandpiper Square goes, again, back to the traffic, this is 2.4 is the average household size in Lexington, and this is 31 homes. Talking about at most 62 cars. The average household, usually leaves at one certain time and stays at the other, and then they leave again at night and they want to go out and eat. So really affecting traffic is what we're trying to fight, and we want people to stay in their homes. They get home and they can walk to dinner. As far as the roads go, we are making a significant amount of improvements to Old Chapin Road. But we're going that corner around the shops of Flat Deck is pretty unsafe. I've personally seen a couple wrecks there. Just over the course of the years, I've seen it get busier and busier, and so we're going to be cutting a huge corner out of that Old Chapin curve, so it's a little more of a straightaway, and we're going to be extending the decel lane by 420 feet. At the end of the day, that road is going to be much safer for the community to drive down. The ingress, egress into the shops of Flat Deck and eventually Sandpiper Square will be much safer. The roads inside Sandpiper Square are privately maintained by the HOA that we will establish, and it does back up to Snell Grove Road, which we have heard a lot of comments about. We're not going to shut down Snell Grove Road, A, during construction, B, post-construction. There will be a service gate to Snell Grove Road for emergency vehicles and service vehicles.
It seems like you've thought all of this clearly out. I mean, you have not left very many details on the table. One thing that I also wanted for you to address was, I know during that meeting they asked about the 2.5-story buildings and the minimum height requirement for buildings. And I know for some people, I heard, we won't be able to have the same views. The city view is changing. How do you address that concern?
So that's an interesting one. I saw some of those comments, and there's not many views in downtown Lexington. I don't think we're going to be obstructing. Really, it's an unimproved piece of land, and surrounding it is a large parking lot for the DOT, the firehouse. I think the view is actually going to get better. I think the skyline is going to improve with Sandpiper Square. These buildings could go as high as 40 feet. We didn't go that high. We wanted to maintain some kind of symmetry between the height and the width of the buildings, because they are a little bit thinner in size. So, it's a pocket neighborhood that's really tucked away as far as affecting people's, views of downtown. I'd have to disagree wholeheartedly with that.
Okay, now when we talk about single-family cottages, so it's 29 of them.
Correct.
And are they 1 bedroom, 2 bedrooms? What is the makeup?
So we have 31 total units. Two of them of which are going to be mixed use, which will be apartments on the top, 2-story apartments, 2-bedroom. Those are our smallest units. The larger units are going to go all the way up to 5-bedroom. Those are going to be in the last phase in the rear of the property. Those are going to be over 2,500 square feet. Large porch on the back with a fireplace, and a primary bedroom on main, which a lot of feedback was you don't have any, downstairs rooms for the elders. Our main demographic is young professionals and young families and empty nesters. So, catering to them was our primary goal. And I personally live in a 3-story house that I have to walk upstairs, but my legs are in really good shape. So most of our bedrooms are going to be on the 2nd level, and those units were going to range anywhere from 3 bedrooms to 4 bedrooms, 2.5 to 3.5 bath.
Wow, that's very impressive. I didn't know the unit count for each space, but that's 5 bedrooms is pretty nice. That's a rarity nowadays without paying a high price tag. Speaking of which, what is the medium price range for your homes?
These are going to be all really market dependent. Obviously, we have a lot of market headwinds in front of us. I think we're going to obviously design a quality home. This is a step above what you normally see developments. As far as price range goes, we're going to be comfortable in the comfortable 300s.
Okay, so which is about average for a home these days?
It's a little above average per square foot and per household in Lexington, which is running around 265.
Okay.
These are going to be in the mid 300s, but we want a single mom to be able to afford one of these, or we want somebody just coming out of college, maybe got a good job and wants to start a family, can afford one of these.
I see. Now you mentioned apartments. Could you expound more on that?
So it's only 2 apartment units. They're going to be in our mixed use units. Those are going to be forward facing on the units. Those are going to be, I'm actually keeping one of them myself.
Okay.
And I will be living in it myself. So I'm gonna eat what I put down, and I am excited to live up there. I do have kids, but here every other week during this development, I'll be living up there, and the other one will be probably a short-term rental that we'll keep. The short-term rental market is
more like an Airbnb type style house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I personally have a couple Airbnbs in Charleston, and that's how I actually met my future fiance.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah,
Airbnb ladies, that's where you meet the good men.
So I think the Airbnb market is strong. These properties also could cater well to investors that are looking to hopefully manage a couple Airbnbs. So there's a wide range of potential buyers for these homes.
Wow, Lexington native, just really helping expand the city and make it more progressive when it comes to the makeup of what living looks like in Lexington.
Right.
When we talk about the future, I'm sure this is not your first thoughts. What else can we expect from you and your company?
So one of my favorite quotes, which has kind of set the tone for our company, is in a crowded marketplace, fitting in is a failure, and in a busy marketplace, not standing out is the same as being invisible. I've always wanted to develop and build something and create something that people will remember and will have experiences they could take away from. So Purty Property Company and our larger holding company is Purty Projects. I have a hospitality background, and I think really going a little bit deeper into the hospitality and residential mixed-use units is really going to be where my next project will be.
Okay, so we're talking like concierge type services when it comes to
More restaurant service, hospitality, restaurant. Short-term rentals is now part of the hospitality industry, and obviously residential homes. So,
wow, you remind me of we had Ben Arnold Jr. in here.
Nice.
You remind me of a younger version of him when it comes to your vision and thoughts about growing an area that needs more development in order to be progressive and competitive in the future. Are you thinking about running for office at some point?
I don't think anybody wants to be in office. I talk too much.
Well, I have to ask because that's usually the next step for some. So I wasn't sure. I just wanted to ask.
I want to leave a lasting legacy for my children and for the communities that I am involved with. I love South Carolina, and I'm going to give my entire career to it as long as I can. And if I need to serve in office one day, absolutely. If I'm called for it, that's what God's message is to me, and His plan is for me, then I'll absolutely follow that plan.
What do you want to say to those people who absolutely hate your project and don't want you to do it and wish you never ever thought about it? What do you want to say to them right now?
We hear you, and we've always planned to put this project out there and anticipated some feedback that was constructive and positive. We want to open and host different forums, and you'll be hearing more about those where you can voice your opinions and you can kind of learn more about Purty Property Company and who we are, and know that we're not just some big money grabbing developer. We're here to really build and better our community, and it starts here with Lexington. So your support is much needed, and we hope we have the opportunity to win you over here in the future.
Well, Jonathan, thank you so much for coming in today and kind of helping address some of the concerns that people have. I think it's important when you are the first and you are changing the face of something that's new that people get an opportunity to hear the why and the how and understand better what to expect. So I appreciate your time here, ladies and gentlemen. This is Jonathan Stambolitis. He is the Director of Development for the new upcoming project, Sandpiper Square in Lexington. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Amanda.